Good day everyone and welcome back to my channel. So for today, we are going to have an interview with a professional licensed civil engineer. So she is Engineer Vanessa. She went to San Diego State University and she is now a transportation engineer. She currently lives in California and her nationality is Filipino. So, what are we waiting for? Here's our interview with Engineer Vanessa.
So yeah, first of all, thank you again for accepting our invitation. It will be a very big help for our project because we were tasked to interview an engineer or a professional engineer for our civil engineering orientation. So yeah, we're very pleased to have you, and hopefully we're going to fall in love more with civil engineering through your story or your journey in this career.
How do you pick
Yes.
yourself back up after making a mistake at work?
How do I pick myself back up? I I always admit that that was my mistake, and to completely own up to the mistake that I have made. And a lot of the times, since I was an entry level at the time or intern, my supervisor would understand most of the time and be very helpful and show me like what's the best way to do something, because everybody makes mistakes, and I think not everybody expects you to know everything, especially as an intern. So really own up to your mistakes and ask for help whenever you make that mistake.
Would you tell us about your life in college, the most memorable things?
Yeah. So in college, most specifically during university, I was really involved in American Society of Civil Engineers, ASCE. So I'm not sure if it's in the Philippines, but I think they do have national or international chapters. But I was really involved in that organization, and those were the most memorable times in my college career, because that's where I really got to meet a lot of other civil engineers, and we did a lot like a regional competition where we compete for making steel bridge and concrete canoe. We also did environmental transportation, but also regional um, like overall competition. So we also did basketball, volleyball, and soccer, which was a lot of fun. So honestly, joining organizations was the biggest or most memorable part in college, and also the most challenging once you also get officer positions.
So the next question for you, ma'am, is what are the struggles did you face during college years and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so some of the struggles was initially actually my first few years in college. It was definitely the earlier, I would say Calc 2 was my hardest class, and some of the early physics classes were very hard. So honestly, getting over the failure sometimes, because I did have to retake some classes, but it actually is pretty common to retake classes and just not let yourself get discouraged by it. And just keep going if you really want to be a civil engineer, even if you fail or if you struggle, because when you're in high school and grade school, you're like, oh, I get, the curve is in your favor.
How did you prepare for the licensure examination? And would you tell us the hardest part if you had any?
So I still need to get my professional engineering exam. It's really hard. But I have my EIT, which is engineering and training. I'm not sure the difference from the Philippines to here in America, but definitely studying a lot. I definitely recommend taking, if you can, I'm not sure again like how it is in the Philippines, but taking the EIT while you're still in school. And then at least here in California, you need at least 2 years of experience, and take your professional engineering exam, which is an 8-hour exam. Then you also have to take a seismic and surveying exam, which are about 2.5 hours each. So it's a lot of studying. Definitely doesn't end. um, until you're done with that. But I definitely would say make sure keep up with the studying while you're still used to studying,
Mm-hmm.
because it's harder to get back into it, especially like while working full time.
If you're going to choose another career, would you choose civil engineering or different program?
I think I would, if I were to choose something different, I think it would be another type of engineering, maybe mechanical, because there's a lot that kind of collides with that. I was taking a lot of classes that were with my mechanical engineering friends up until junior year. And so I felt like I could have changed to mechanical during that time, but I think I would have still stuck to some type of engineering.
So, hello, Engineer Vanessa. What's the
Hi.
best advice you can give to help us in our career or path as future engineers?
I would suggest continue to network with people within your industry. So whether it's through video chats like this, or reaching out to somebody via LinkedIn, networking and is what really can help. And that's why I keep bringing up ASE, because that's how I was able to get my first job, because I was really involved with that and I was able to network with a lot of people. So, especially with the virtual world that we have now, it's really important to, reach out to people, network with them, and it's a lot easier because you're able to connect with so many people that
Mm-hmm.
who might not have been available before, because everything's virtual and they don't have to travel. Kind of like what we're doing now. I didn't have to travel to you guys, and you didn't have to travel to me. So,
Yeah.
definitely networking.
What could be the hardest project that you have worked with or to be part with?
My internship, so the hardest part um, was, I think, just learning everything at first, because I didn't know anything when I first started, although I knew the the theory of engineering because of school, but learning how to do AutoCAD, which I've only had one class prior, and then learning how to do a lot more drafting while I was working on my internship. It's a lot more than what they teach you, at least like what they taught me in school. I do a lot of drafting now, which I only took one class in college, and now I do it all day.
How do you separate your work life from your home life?
That is a good question, because I'm still really involved in that same organization, but in the professional chapter instead of the student chapter. So I keep bringing that home. But to really separate, I really have to, especially since we're working from home now. It's just having to turn off my laptop and like not look at my email, even though I have access to it because I am not working at that time. So being able to know, okay, this is the time, from this time to this time is when I will work, and so from then on, I have to close everything, because if I keep going, then there's no separation. If I look at my phone for emails, then there's no separation. So having to shut out as if I'm not looking at those things, it really helps separate, because it is a little hard now since I am working from home that all my computers and technology is here. I could easily keep working until I get too tired, but I have
Mm.
to stop and turn it all off.
Engineer, Engineer Vanessa, does your job make you feel happy and fulfilled?
Yes. Yeah, I definitely feel fulfilled, and I really enjoy civil engineering. And like I mentioned, I switched over to transportation engineering because I really wanted to help people. And so one of my projects includes um, railway undercrossings. So currently there's an elementary on one side and residents on the other side, no existing station. And so people are crossing all the time. You know, the train could be coming in, but we are adding an undercrossing so that it's safer for people to go from one side of the rail to the other. And I feel like that's, you know, that's helping society and other projects that I've worked on. I feel like being able to help society is what's, you know, really important to me, the projects.
If you would be given an opportunity to work in the Philippines, would you like to?
Yeah, actually, after I heard about the typhoons in the Philippines, I was trying to reach out to my CEO or my boss and see if we have anything in the Philippines, because the fact that, you know, a lot of infrastructure has been torn down, and it just makes me really sad that, you know, I'm all the way in America. Like, I want to do something and I want to help. I just don't really know how, because I don't know like what my company is able to do. But definitely, like, if there's any possible way to help, especially like with the infrastructure and the floodway that has destroyed many properties, that's all civil engineering. That's why we need civil engineers.
Um,
Yes.
are you more of a work to live or a live to work type of person?
I don't know. I always get that confused. um, I guess I guess you can say like I do like to work. Um, I guess I can be a workaholic sometimes, but I don't let it be my whole life at the same time.
So hi ma'am, what would we expect when we started our job as a civil engineer?
So what would you expect, especially on the first year of engineering? Expect to learn a lot. And it may seem overwhelming because you just graduated, you just finished all your studies. You're gonna learn so much more while working. So the school is for the background theory, knowledge, and understanding of the calculations. But when your first year, you know, you're not used to working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So there's going to be a lot that you're going to be learning all at once. And so what I expect for you, or like all of you to learn, is that it's okay to not know everything, and that your supervisors are there to help you. And so just keep, basically, when I first worked in my internship, they told me to be a sponge. So absorb everything, learn everything that you can, especially within the first few years, because that's going to be your foundation.
Engineer Vanessa, do you have a professional mentor?
Yes, I would say I have more than one mentor. Sometimes they don't know that they're my mentor. I just ask them questions. um, other times, I've had an actual mentor where we've had a program and we've talked like, oh, you're gonna help me with certain things, or they know that I am their mentee. But other times, just knowing a professional that I can ask questions to, they have indirectly become my mentor. So I would say have multiple mentors, and especially since me as a female engineer, like, I don't just pick female engineer mentors. So I pick, even my supervisor, your direct supervisor is like an unofficial, basically, mentor, but also somebody else within the company that you work for that might be in a different team could be your mentor, or even somebody from a different company who has had experience that you want to eventually have. They could be your mentors. So I would suggest having multiple mentors, and they don't have to be like you.
How do you motivate yourself in your career?
I motivate myself. I like to have a lot. I like to write down my goals, and having those goals really being able to see it written out really motivates me to work towards those goals. So I have a planner or like a vision board of things that I want to achieve, and having something visually there or having something visually written down, that goal, seeing that goal in mind continues to motivate me to be better, to work towards those goals, and just having something to look forward to really motivates me.
To sum it all up, what would be the two biggest or greatest advice that you could give to us?
Okay, so biggest advice for an aspiring civil engineer, I would say one of them is don't forget your why. Why did you decide to become a civil engineer? And I feel like that can be for anything, not just civil engineering, but I would say definitely don't forget your why, because that's really what can drive you to keep going. My second biggest advice for aspiring civil engineer is don't be afraid of failure. Like I mentioned before, it's really tough. It I know the classes are really hard sometimes, and I would say don't let that discourage you. I like hopefully that doesn't discourage you. Even when you're taking the exams that I mentioned, like I also struggled, and I don't let that stop me. So really being, I guess, like resilient to failure is something that I really hope that you continue to do, because I know it's not easy, and it's remembering your why is what will keep you going.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite thing about your job when you're doing your job?
My favorite thing about my job is seeing the projects completed. So being able, it takes years before a project is complete, so it's a long waited excitement, but being able to see it complete and being able to say, oh, I've worked on that, or that has helped somebody, is what I love the most about my career.
Engineer Vanessa,
Yes.
do you have your favorite project you've done so far?
My favorite project I've done so far, I honestly I can't really name too many, because or like I have too many to name actually, because many of the ones that I worked on the past couple years have been complete, but the ones in transportation that I'm working on, they haven't been constructed yet, so it's a little hard, since it does take a really long time for projects to be complete. One of my favorite projects that I'm currently working on that won't be constructed until like another year and a half, is a bikeway project. And I really like that one because it helps people be able to like complete streets, being able to walk around in the area and be able to shop just from walking distance. But also, it's in an area that is very heavily LGBTQ plus. So they like have very creative ways of designing it to make it very friendly for LGBTQ plus.
So I think that's all the questions that we have.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Thank you
no
so
problem.
much.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good night or evening. Afternoon.
Afternoon
After.
po.
Have a good night.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Goodbye.
you so much.
Thank you.
That helps me
Thank
a
you.
lot. Thank you. Thank you so much.